Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Exodus, the 39th chapter. And this is going into the garments, of Aaron and his sons that were made by the children of Israel, according to the commandments of the Lord given to Moses. And of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service, to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments of Aaron, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the ephod of gold, blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires, to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. And I'll pull up another translation on this here, but basically they took the gold and when it says they beat it, as it says here in the NLT, they made gold thread by hammering out thin sheets of gold and cutting it into fine strands. With great skill and care, he worked it into the fine linen with the blue, purple, and scarlet thread. They made shoulder pieces for it to couple it together. By the two edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same, meaning the as it says, according to the work thereof, the coloring, the color, the design, right, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in ouches of gold, and the ouches were like the holders, right, the things that, like, you can have certain rings that are designed in a certain way to hold a stone in it, and that's like an example of an ouch as well. Of gold, graven as signets are graven, with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was 4 square, so it was a square, it was 4 sides. They made the breastplate double, a span was the length thereof. So the breastplate was, if you took the material and folded it in half, the thickness of it being double. It says here, a span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set in it 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. And the second row an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row a ligure, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosings. And this was all on the breastplate, so that chest piece on top of the ephod. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet. So their names were carved out or engraved into the stones, every one with his name according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And these weren't like, they were like cords, more like cords, right? Not like your metal chains per se. But as it says, of wreathen work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. So let's look at this in the NLT as well, starting at 15. It says here, to attach the chest piece to the ephod, they made braided cords of pure gold thread. They also made 2 settings of gold filigree and 2 gold rings, and we went over what this looks like, and 2 gold rings, and attached them to the top corners of the chest piece. So what they were building here was a way to bind the chest piece or the breastplate onto the ephod. And they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they fastened in the 2 ouches. So they connected the top hooks from the breastplate on the right side of the chest and the left side of the chest up to the shoulder. So right side of the chest connects to the right shoulder, left side of the chest connects to the left shoulder. And let me see here, garment of Aaron, the priest. And we can just pull up something. Yeah. This is all right. We can work with this. So as you can see here, this is a connector, right? One side of the chest to that shoulder, one side of the chest to that shoulder. Verse 17, and they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they fastened in the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And that's now going into the rings on the ephod down here, and also the rings on the breastplate, so you can connect the bottom part of the breastplate to the ephod. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. So once again, because this is the girdle, so they did this above it because that's where you would attach the breastplate. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings onto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of blue, and there was an hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a harbington, and that is for the headspace. And I'll look up here just so you can see. Oh, let's see, harbington. So something like this, right? I think this is not bad. So you can see there's an opening here for the headspace, okay? And as it says here, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. So they probably put, you know, some like other layer, or like, you know, maybe even something similar, right? Not exactly looking like this, but something to cover the edges so it doesn't rip. And they made upon the hems of the garment, or of the robe, which is the bottom, the skirt of it, pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet, and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates. That is this part right here. A bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe, to minister in, as the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and for his sons. And the coat is the bottommost layer. And a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen. And that's what you would call like your underwear today. That's the breeches. And a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And this would go on the forehead of that mitre of Aaron. And they tied onto it a lace of blue to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished. And the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, and his sockets, and the covering of rams' skins dyed red, and the covering of badgers' skins, and the veil of the covering, the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table and all the vessels thereof, and the shewbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver and his foot. That's the one that contained the water, and the base of it. The hangings of the court, his pillars and his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the congregation. The cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and his sons' garments to minister in the priest's office. According to all that the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses, so the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord Yahweh had commanded. Even so had they done it, and Moses blessed them. And that brings us to the end of the book of Exodus, the 39th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kudash. Until next time, Shalom.